Holy smokes, we did it. Episode 200 is here. And I gotta be honest, it's crazy. When my team told me we were on episode 200, I was like, what are you talking about? But here we are, episode 200 of the Big Idea to Bestseller podcast. And what a journey it has been. All right, now what's crazy, I was looking back before this, and we started this on 6/20/2022, and now 2 years later, we are on episode 200. We've done solo episodes, guest episodes, client episodes, and it has been an absolutely unbelievable experience. And so I want to keep this one fairly short for you, but I also want to make sure that episode 200 gives you a little something here. All right. And so I'm going to break it down by some of my biggest lessons that I've learned. I'm going to break down some of the topics that we've discussed. And then I want to leave here with some shout outs and give you guys a little something for being part of this 200 episode adventure. So biggest lesson number one is that consistency is key. All right, it would have been very easy over the course of these 200 episodes to say, we're going to skip. We're not feeling it. I don't want to record. Oh, my voice isn't here. No, consistency is key. And what I have realized is that over these last 200 episodes, not only have I gotten better on the mic, have I gotten more comfortable, have I been able to tell stories better, have I been able to improve like my actual skill set because of consistency, but because we're so consistent, I now spend less than an hour a week on average creating this podcast. I do an interview and I do a solo episode. And so I spend an average of probably about an hour a week on this podcast, and our processes are so dialed in because consistency is key. Number two is one of the lessons I've learned from having a podcast is you never know who you might connect with because you have a podcast. Because I have a podcast related to books, I'm able to interview some really amazing authors. I'm able to interview people who could be my partners in Big Idea to Bestseller. I'm able to interview competitors, and we're able to reach a bigger audience. I've been able to interview people who could be clients, who could be partners, who I may want to hire, but I want to learn more about their stuff. So I get to bring them on the podcast. I get to ask questions. You never know who you're going to connect with because you had a podcast. I've invested in people who I've had as a guest. I have signed clients who I've had as a guest. And I've made some really, really great friendships and been able to promote some amazing people. That's lesson number two. Lesson number three is that a podcast can be a really great way to add value to your clients. When our clients launch books, I'm able to interview them on the show and give them an awesome experience to help promote their book. Some of our clients have their first ever podcast interview that they've ever done is when they launch their book and they come on this show and get to promote their book, get some practice, get some interview practice. And so this serves not only as a way for us to promote our clients, but it serves as a way for them to get practice interviewing so that then they can go out there and start crushing it with other interviews and have that confidence to go out there and pursue more. Those are some of the biggest lessons that I've had. And I'll give you another lesson here. One of the lessons that I have found to be huge is that when you do a podcast, you can have a lot of fun. You can express yourself in a lot of different ways. Is our audio quality the greatest in the world? No. Is our camera quality the greatest in the world? No. Is our editing the greatest in the world? No. We don't even do edits 80% of the time. Actually, we actually don't do edits on the podcast. We just add something in the beginning and add something at the end, but we actually don't make any cuts. We're a one-take wonder over here. We just go for it. You can have a ton of fun when you're doing this podcast, and it does not have to be perfect to help you achieve your goal. And for us, that has been a huge lesson for me specifically because I want things to be perfect. I want things to be exactly as they're supposed to be. But here's what's great is you can always get better. But if I never started this podcast, I wouldn't be where I am today. Could we improve certain things? Of course we could. And guess what? We may, or we are working on it. But does that mean that these 200 episodes weren't great? No, these 200 episodes were freaking fantastic. Okay, so podcasting can be a ton of fun and a great way to express yourself. I freaking love it. I get to talk to people. I'm getting paid to talk to people. What a job, right? That's fantastic. So let's talk about some of the topics that we've covered on this particular podcast. We've talked about limiting beliefs of writing a book. We've talked about the difference between self and traditional publishing. We've brought in experts to talk about how to outline your book. We've featured ghostwriters, cover designers, writing coaches. We've featured formatters. We've featured marketing gurus, PR experts. We've talked about how to outline a book. We've talked about how to write a book. We've talked about how to write a book quickly. We've talked about how to find the right editor for your book. We've talked about the different types of editing. We've talked about how to publish your book. We've talked about how to launch a book. We've talked about how to design a cover that people actually give a shit about. What just happened 5 seconds ago? Yeah, we're not going to edit that, right? Like, probably we should, maybe shouldn't. My point is this: we can have a ton of fun, right? We can have a ton of fun. Perfect doesn't mean that it's better, all right? This is who we are. This is what we do, all right? How to get more speaking gigs, we've brought that on. How to sell more books, how to get more reviews, how to launch successfully, how to connect with people. All of these are topics that we've covered in the past 200 episodes of this show, and it's been a freaking blast. And so I want to give a couple shout outs here. Number one, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the listeners. All right, for you being here, listening to this show in and out, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. All right, whether you've listened to one episode or all 200, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Another shout out is to all of our guests that have been on the show. All right, big shout out. Podcast wouldn't be where it is today without the amazing guests that have joined us to communicate and to share messages and to impact people all around the freaking world. And I want to give a shout out to all of my clients who have appeared on the podcast or who will appear on the podcast. And for those of you that are going to become clients, you will get to be on the show. And I can't thank you enough for sharing your story, taking a chance, and for being here and for being on the podcast. Freaking fires me up. And then I want to give a big shout out to our team for helping us execute every single episode. A big shout out to my right hand, Meredith. She has crushed it. She has crushed it for us to get all of these episodes out. And I could not be more appreciative and more grateful for the team. So if you've listened to an episode, if you've been a guest on the show, if you're on part of our team, if you're a client, you guys are what makes it so special. You guys are what allows us to do this. You guys are what makes it so special. And I'm so, so, so incredibly grateful. And so as we finish up with episode 200, I just want to say that if you've enjoyed this at all, it would mean the world to me if you could take 2 seconds and just click that star rating. Whatever star rating you want to give it. I'd love your honest star rating. Okay, review the show. That would mean the world. And my other big ask, my big challenge, as you know, we finish every episode with a challenge. My big challenge to you is this. Listen to the next one. Listen to the next one, because if it gets you one step closer to writing your book or using your book to change your entire direction of your life, it's worth it. These 5, 7, 10, 15 minutes are worth it, okay? And I believe in you. If you listen to this show, you are someone who wants more for yourself. You want to continue to help people. You want to make some magic happen. You want to make a book part of your future reality. So thank you for getting us to episode 200. And I hope you're fired up for the next 200, because we are going to keep rocking and rolling. We have no intentions of slowing this thing down. And because we want to keep this rocking and rolling, we want to give a shout out to the next 200 episodes. Here's what we're going to do. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I want to give away some stuff. I want to give away some awesome stuff. So if you've liked this podcast at all, whether you've listened to one or all 200 episodes, I want to give you a copy of my book, okay? So you're just going to DM me on Instagram, at Jake Kelfer. Just say, Jake, I listened to episode 200, and I want all the gifts you're willing to give. I'm going to give away a copy of my book. I'm going to give away a coaching call, okay? I'm going to give away a 15-minute coaching call. All right, I'm going to give away some other book materials, okay? I'm going to give you my podcast secrets so that you can book yourself on a major podcast tour. All right, I want you to crush this game, okay? So if you really enjoy this, if you listen to this and you would like to take advantage of that and receive that giveaway, I'll be doing this for the first couple of people who reach out to me on Instagram, at Jake Kelfer. I'll make sure that you're getting all of these goods. So with that said, once again, thank you for helping us get to episode 200. It's kind of crazy. It feels like it just happened. I feel like we were just starting the podcast. But thank you for being here, and I hope to see you on the next 200 episodes. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.